Mamba out.
Drippin', saucy, yeah. Bitch, I do this often. My bitch is bad, she always in office. Don't got a tags on running my body. Can't see the pads, I'm living too fast. With 20, my dash, I'm up, but I lost him. He wanna brag, I did his bag and took what he had. Don't care what it cost him. Then he broke, he turned to a hoe. I seen him before, the shit get exhausted. Ran out of hope. I wanna be known, the stage of my soul. You ran even more. So I even broke.
What's up, riding with Sports Now with Darius and Aiden? Today, you are finally getting our reaction to the Blake Griffin signing to the Brooklyn Nets. We decided to do it today because today, as some of you might know, is Blake Griffin's birthday. So happy 32nd birthday to Mr. Blake Griffin. But today, we are going to give you our reaction to you being on the Brooklyn Nets. Darius, start us off.
Well, Aiden, you'll look at Blake Griffin. Of course, the season's only averaging like 12.5 points, like 4 rebounds. He's shooting like 37% from the field. Definitely not his best numbers. But Aiden, you really can't put blame on Blake Griffin because he's simply playing for a trash team. And you look at when Blake Griffin did lead the Pistons to the playoffs, he was averaging phenomenal numbers. I believe it was like average like 25, 5 and 4, which are solid numbers for a player who has made, I believe, 6 All-Stars and 5 NBA teams. Excuse me, 5 All-NBA teams. And you look at Blake Griffin, doesn't have to be the first option. He doesn't have to be the second option. He doesn't have to be the third option. He doesn't have to be the fourth either. Because look, you have KD, Kyrie, got James Harden, the Bear. Don't forget to stop Joe Harris. But guess what? You put Blake into the mix. The only reason I believe the Brooklyn Nets brought in Blake Griffin was because they need a little bit of size, and they need a little bit of size. Because don't forget they gave up Jerry Down and that Blockbuster James Harden deal. They still have DeAndre Jordan, but guess what? We're even hearing speculation that they're going to get Andre Drummond. And if they get Andre Drummond, I'm going to say this right here and right now. If the Brooklyn Nets get Andre Drummond, it is game over. It's game over. They are 100% win the NBA championship. I don't care if KD gets injured. I don't care if Kyrie gets injured. I don't care if Harden gets injured. If either one of them get injured, I really don't care. They win the championship either way. You bring Andre Drummond, who is, in my mind, the best rebounding big in the game of basketball, who's made a couple All-Star teams, who has been a phenomenal defensive big man. Forget about Rudy Gobert. We should be talking about Andre Drummond. We should really be talking about Andre Drummond. You bring in Blake Griffin, and you may even bring in Andre Drummond. How can this question just comes up to my mind. How can the Brooklyn Nets find enough cap space to bring in Kyrie, KD, Harden, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, and even possibly Andre Drummond? I don't know how in God's name you can find enough cap space to bring in those midi lethal weapons. And you look at the Brooklyn Nets defensive stats. Even if Blake Griffin doesn't play the game, they're second defensively, only behind the Utah Jazz, who literally have the best record in all of basketball. And look at the Brooklyn Nets. They have a defensive rating of 113.2. Right. They're averaging around 35.5 defensive rebounds a game, which is pretty low for including with being a top team in the Eastern Conference, the top team in the league. So that's why I think they brought in Blake Griffin to rebound the basketball, get a little bit of size, and bring in Andre Drummond. Those defensive rebounds will go up by 10 to 20 because I have very high hopes for him. Defensive rebound percentage around 72.7%. They average around 7 steals a game. They average around 5 blocks per game. Opponents' points off the turnover, they only allow 16.9. Opponents' second chance points, they allow 13 second chance points per game, which is relatively low. So without Blake Griffin playing the game, and without Andre Drummond possibly on the team, and even with KD not even playing the game in the second half of the season, the Brooklyn Nets are still second in defensive ratings when Kyrie and Harden are playing. The Brooklyn Nets, I gotta say this here and now. Brooklyn Nets, with the addition of Blake Griffin, they are the favorites to win the NBA championship. I'm sorry to all the Lakers fans, sorry to all the Lakers casuals out there. But you look at the star power the Brooklyn Nets have right now. If Blake Griffin, who was a 6-time All-Star and a 5-time All-NBA player, doesn't have to be a first option. He doesn't have to be a second option. He doesn't have to be a third option. And he possibly doesn't even have to be a fourth option. He could be the fifth. He could be the fifth option. And we're talking about Blake Griffin. Do you know how scary that is? Do you know how scary that is to all those other teams in the East? And Aiden, I told you this when we did our Philadelphia 76ers Contingent Opportunities episode. I said the Brooklyn Nets had to have a 85% chance to win the Eastern Conference. And the only team that I believe that can compete with them is the Philadelphia 76ers. And that's only if Joel Embiid is 100% healthy and he is 100% durable. I don't see any other team in the East beating the Brooklyn Nets, not Milwaukee, not Boston, not Toronto, not Indiana, definitely not Charlotte, not even Chicago. The Brooklyn Nets are winning the East. They're winning the mid-championship. Blake Griffin.
You know what?
Blake Griffin.
First, I'm going to start with Philadelphia. Philadelphia, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid have never been healthy at the same time. That's what kept that is what keeps them from winning it every single year. Neither of them stay healthy for the entire year. And if they both stay healthy for the entire year, neither of them can last that long in the playoffs. It's horrific every single year. We saw with Ben Simmons last year, knee. We just saw with Joel Embiid this year. Luckily he avoided any major damage, and it's really only a hyperextension. But you never know. That's just my warning. Second of all, I gotta cut you some slack because I didn't realize what was going to happen when the season started for the Brooklyn Nets. We didn't realize the Harden signing was going to happen. Didn't realize the Blake Griffin signing was going to happen. I even argued medical science towards KD when I know he is not able to be defined by any form of medical knowledge. I was right about some things. I was right about the Warriors, right? And I was right about Miami. But let me go back to the Brooklyn Nets. This team assembled here can only be described as when Michael Jordan had to face the Monstars. This is some real monster type of stuff. You have 2 MVPs on your team, maybe even 3 if you want to count Kyrie as a contender this year. You have, I believe, 5 all-NBA caliber players on that team now. What you have built in Brooklyn is amazing. I talked about Steve Nash a lot. I didn't know if he could be a good enough coach. I was wrong there. I was definitely wrong there. If you can manage Harden and Kyrie in the same space, along with Kevin Durant and Blake Griffin, you are a saint among men, because those guys are some of the hardest. This is coming from people in the media, not from. These are some of the hardest to deal with people in the NBA, and that's what they're viewed as in the media, and that's what they're viewed as by the fans. But one more thing, and I'm gonna end off my statement. If the Nets don't at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals, this was some BS. One, if they don't make it to the NBA championship, this is blasphemous. And if they don't almost be competitive, if they make it to the championship or even win it, if they make it to the championship, this all would be for nothing. That's all I have to say.
Aiden, this is most definitely a championship or bust for the Brooklyn Nets. I know you still have the Lakers and still know you have the Clippers, and don't forget about the Utah Jazz with them in the conversation. I know you still have the 76ers, but this is championship or bust for the Brooklyn Nets. If you have that much talent, if you have that much star power on a team alone, where a perennial time All-NBA type of player doesn't even have to be the first, second, or third, fourth, fifth option on a team, you cannot have any excuse at all not to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and not make it to the finals and not even and possibly you don't have an excuse not to win the championship. Um, Defensively, the Brooklyn Nets are one of the best teams in basketball. Offensively, the Brooklyn Nets are the best team in basketball. Overall, the Brooklyn Nets are the best team in basketball. They're gonna win the NBA championship. I don't care if KD gets injured in the postseason. You still have KD and Harden. Excuse me, you still have Kyrie and Harden. You still maybe even bring in Andre Drummond. And if they bring in Andre Drummond, I'm gonna say this again: it's game over. It's game over. Literally one of the best, if not the best, defensive big in the game. And Andre Drummond may join the Brooklyn Nets if he gets a bite from the Cavaliers. Um, have Blake Griffin, even though it's been an off year for him, he will bounce back. And the Brooklyn Nets are not even rushing to play. Same thing with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant doesn't even have to play the entire second half of the season. He can come back during the postseason. He come back first, second round, and he will literally drop 30 or 40 points on you. And that's just how incredible Kevin Durant is. And you know how incredible Kevin Durant is. He's able to come back from that Achilles injury. But I told you, man, he was gonna come back and he was gonna be an MVP candidate. He was gonna be
Hey, and I told you about the Heat and the Warriors, but you didn't want to listen to me then. So again, I asked, cut me some slack.
getting the Heat of fourth place in the Eastern Conference. But that's besides the point.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. Brooklyn Nets
And the Warriors are out of the playoffs as of now.
Yeah, the Brooklyn Nets are going to win the championship. Blake Griffin just joined the Brooklyn Nets just to get a ring. He just joined to get a ring, get out of there. He got a 1-year deal for the veterans minimum. What is that? He just won a chip. He just won a little ring. He won a little bling bling on his finger. So that's all I have to say. AD, you have any final words?
All or nothing. In the famous words of a famous man, all or nothing.
Well, thank you for just sharing Sports Time Days 8, and I'm Dear Sam. Thank you very much. And thank you for just sharing on this brand new episode of Sports Time Days 8. And if you haven't already, make sure to like this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and comment down below. And also make sure to hit that bell for post notifications for every video and update from the channel. And until then, everybody, I'm Dear Sam. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Peace and love. Stay safe, stay healthy, and be out. Peace.